So businesses must support the communities where they do business. And certainly stronger communities make for stronger businesses. The other component for companies that are locally based in Massachusetts, I think, is a sense of pride. Companies like State Street that have been here since in its inception are going to be your best supporters and help you meet your goals. The Children's Trust is an organization that provides resources to families to really, at the end of the day, help those that are most vulnerable, which are children, and with the end goal of preventing child abuse and neglect. A co-worker of mine attended, one of our programs, and it's a real example of someone that benefited directly from what the Children's Trust Fund offered, 10 years ago. And today is a success story. An employee at State Street that's committed to advancement and development and securement of their family. So what I've gotten out of it is certainly my perception has changed completely, become a lot more knowledgeable on the issue, on the real issue that most people don't want to talk about, gotten comfortable with the topic. And it's a sense of personal satisfaction to know that there's an organization focusing on this topic and addressing the issues at the source. I think it's a great milestone. It's certainly a great milestone, and when you get to 25 years, 50 years, that's truly what differentiates organizations, and it truly shows the commitment and the fact that we're here for the long term.
I think what we find in diverse populations is that there is a preparation gap. There are students who come to our schools who have incredible amounts of education before they arrive. They have large vocabularies and they've been exposed to many things. And there is other students who come to our schools who don't have those advantages. And by giving our students and our families an opportunity to grow and develop through these kinds of programs, we close that preparation gap and enable them to participate in more equal footing as they enter the schools. And over time, that leads to greater educational effectiveness. Our partnership with the Children's Trust has been so substantial.
I'm stop you on that one because you really shouted at me in that. Our partnership. So that's the only time I'm
Her partnership.
That's why she has headphones on. Stop that, Roy.
Cut it out, huh? Okay, all right. All right. Our partnership with the Children's Trust has gone back 15 years. The Children's Trust has enabled us to develop programs that have made a difference in the lives of over 25,000 families. We certainly believe the kinds of supports that they've given us in helping us to teach parents to avoid child neglect or child abuse, to strengthen parenting skills, to develop the capacity that parents have to become real partners in the educational process is incredible. They've enabled us to build a parent library. They've enabled us to reach out to parents who don't speak English as a first language and their children. They've enabled us to incorporate programs that deal with grandparents and fathers who sometimes don't know how to become parents because they've left it to mothers in other cultures. They've enabled us to develop the kinds of connections in the community that can build upon the strengths of our school system and enable us to do our job that much better. It's really been a wonderful partnership. I believe over the last 15 years, there's over $910,000 of direct funding from the Children's Trust to Medford. The Medford Family Network is entering its 20th year, and the Medford Family Network has played an important role in engaging parents and in helping us to organize the community around early childhood education. We think it's extremely important to bring parents into the educational process at the earliest possible time and to give them the skills and abilities they need to help their young people advance and to empower them to help their students, help their young people become effective students in the school system. Not at all. Parental engagement. They're our partners in education. Without parental engagement, we're not going to be as successful. The more parents participate, the greater opportunities we have to educate their children, to find out what's important to them. Youngsters come to us with different interests and different abilities, and parents can sometimes help us to develop those interests and abilities, because when they leave school and they go home, parental involvement continues the educational process. Well, a front-end investment in the development of children and families will yield greater results than a back-end investment in remediation. The economics are clear. James Hechinger, a Nobel Prize economist, has demonstrated over and over again the payback on effective early childhood education. There are so many things that happen later on in a person's life that can be attributed back to poor childhood or to poor parenting. If we get in front of this, we're going to make a difference in a lot of lives, and we're going to improve our educational system a lot faster. And I believe we'll close the achievement gap by being front-end loaded. Well, for example, on a personal level, I have grandchildren who come here. I have grandchildren who participate in this. When I see my grandchildren and I realize how much time my wife and I and my daughter and my son-in-law and my son, who has a grandchild as well, put into their children, into our grandchildren, I realize the advantages these young people have. And I realize that there are people out there who don't have those advantages, and that my grandchildren are going to come to school with a lot of extras that some youngsters won't get if they don't have programs like this to help them close that preparation gap, to give them an opportunity to compete when they get to real school, and to give them an opportunity to develop the kinds of backgrounds and the cultural interactions that are going to make them really important citizens in the years to come. Well, as a superintendent of schools, I'm responsible for pre-K through 12 and plus education for a lot of people, even adult education. And I see a lot of emphasis being given to older children and a lot of emphasis being given to jobs and going to work. And I realize that that's important, and I know we have to do that. But I also realize the job is very difficult because some of the youngsters who come to us should have been addressed a lot earlier and should have had more attention a lot earlier. And I know that if I could do that, if I could put more investment into that, we would have an easier time later on. And so my perspective is get them early. Let's hit them hard and let's really make something happen so that later on we don't have to spend as much time in remediation.
Oh, I think that the 25th anniversary of the Trust Fund is definitely worth celebrating. You know, 25 years ago we had a budget of about $125,000, 2 staff people, and thanks to a hard-working board of directors and a staff that I think is so incredible. They get the mission. We're mission-focused, we're mission-driven. So should we be celebrating? Absolutely. We should be celebrating the lives of children that will never know who we are, and they don't need to. But we know that we've had an impact on thousands upon thousands of young children and their parents who live a very different life, who have a very different skill set because we've been here. I think that if that's not worth celebrating, then I don't know what is. When you look into a child's eyes, you see such hope, you see such promise, and you see a child really wanting to trust that you're going to be there for them, and then they finally hook me with that giggle. There's nothing better, and I think nothing more soothing than to see a happy, giggling, energized child. I've had amazing opportunities to meet dads who, you know, didn't have a dad in their own life, really wanted to make a difference in their child's lives, but really didn't quite know what it meant to be a dad, who go through a parenting ed program and go, wow, you know, I'm really important. I really matter in how well my child is going to do over the long term. That's such a gift. I think it goes back to early childhood, the importance of it. It sets the foundation so that that child arrives at school ready to learn. The parents know how to negotiate systems. They arrive at the school ready to be engaged, ready to play a role in that school system. And I think for business leaders, for politicians, just for the regular taxpayer, it makes a difference that a child can come out from school performing well, going on to higher ed, and being able to contribute to the society, versus when you have something terrible happen to a child, you've got to bring in all kinds of different folks, whether it's Child Protective Services, a hospital, mental health, lawyers. Start adding all that up. And whether you're a business leader or you're just paying your taxes, it is cheaper financially, and it is a wiser investment to join us upstream and make sure that kids do well in this state. Our biggest program is called Healthy Families. It's a home visiting program for first-time teen parents 20 and under. It picks up those parents prenatally. Where about 59% are picked up prenatally, and works with them until the time the child turns 3. What we've found is that 70% of the young moms who aren't in school go back to school. 83% of them graduate with a high school diploma or a GED and go on to further education. That's so much better than national average. We've cut the rate of child abuse and neglect significantly. We've cut the second birth rate significantly. But most importantly to me, those babies, infants, and small children are developmentally on track. You can't give a child back their childhood. 0 to 3 is when the bulk of the brain develops. We have laws that make us pay attention to how we pour concrete foundations. We need laws to pay attention to, here's the foundation of a child's brain. Let's get in there and make sure that all those neurons are talking to each other, that the parent knows how to play and stimulate that learning, so that what the translation would be from some of these young parents, I made my baby's brain smarter. You did. And that's exactly what we all benefit from. At some point I'm going to be on Social Security. I want those young children to be able to be employed and be able to provide for me when I'm an old lady. And you don't want to keep paying taxes for programs that only deal after the damage has been done. We can put Humpty Dumpty together again, but it costs a lot of money, it takes a lot of time, and those fissures are still there and delicate. I say join us right from the very beginning, when we've got a clean slate. Work with parents, work with the children, and make a difference. You save money and you save lives. What could be better? I think investing in the Children's Trust is to invest in that early upstream arena where you've got a brand new baby, you've got a brand new set of parents, they're desperate for knowledge, skills, and support. It is a time where you can get in there and make an enormous difference. It doesn't cost a lot. I think we're a good bargain because we pay a lot of attention to evaluation. We pay a lot of attention to the quality of the program. We pay a lot of attention to the dosage. How many times do you need to come to a class? How many home visits does it make to make a difference? But one family for a year is $3,300 versus over $50,000 to have a child protective agency brought in. I think that's a wise investment. I think being upstream and getting in there and really investing in that parent-child relationship is critical. You learn how to parent by being parented. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. Parents play such an important role that I want to make sure they know how to do it well, and they're not stuck in some place where they didn't have a clue as to how to do that well. I think that's critical. Prevention is cost effective. You're preventing a bad outcome while at the same time you're increasing good outcomes. And that's why I love to do this work, and that's why I think the Children's Trust is such a vibrant, wonderful organization. We know that we're really making a difference, whether you're a board member, whether you're a staff member, whether you're one of our partner agencies. We are really helping children grow, flourish, become emotionally healthy, physically healthy, so that in the long term, that's much cheaper. It's a wise investment. no one ever gets anything right the first time out. And that's why one of our core elements is the evaluation of programs. So for example, with the home visiting, Tufts University has been evaluating this since it began in FY 1998. So having Tufts come in to evaluate meant that we would learn very early on what was working and what wasn't. So good example was, in the beginning they're like, we've got a lot of do not keeps for appointments, and we were struggling to figure that out. And they're like, well, there are no evening hours. Oh, hello, we can fix that. 48% of the first round of evals showed that moms were chronically depressed. Okay, how do we work with that? We work with the mental health system. Then we look at the research, and there's emerging literature out there that says, gee, there's this guy in Cincinnati who has an evidence-based cognitive behavioral health component that has shown amazing results. Oh, let's add that. So I think if you don't learn, if you don't pay attention to evaluation, even when we're doing a parenting education program, I want to know whether or not that dad and that mom, did it help? Would they refer somebody else to it? What kinds of help did it give them? So that's my vision, is that we're really there to say, we understand parenting is the toughest job you take on, and yet it is absolutely the most important job you'll ever have. You're going to fall in love in a way that you never imagined. What a gift. We want you to be able to realize that you as a parent can be the best parent possible, and that at the end you can sit back and go, wow, look what I helped grow. Look what I helped flourish. What a terrific young person this is. That's my vision.
Children's Trust has a great program in Athol, Mass, which is part of my district, and they work with families. They really have a great impact in Athol and Orange area, and really touching those young parents that really are just learning to be good parents. The other impact was just recently, I was out in Dorchester and experienced a great Healthy Families graduation, where I saw really young parents that were there after going through a really great parenting skills class with their kids. And I was just touched by how caring those parents were, and how they interacted with their kids. And I knew that without healthy family initiatives and without Children's Trust being in their lives, that it could be a different story altogether. And Children's Trust really changes the story, and I hope that another 25 years of Children's Trust being in families and kids' lives will continue to make that change, so that we don't have any abuse in families, or that children never have to come to our office. Children's Trust has an ability to really reach beyond just a local, but also a state and a national impact, to work with Pew Charitable Trust and other great partners to make sure that we do the best we can for the children in our lives. And Children's Trust has a really great attitude, and that is that parenting is one tough job. And as district attorney, if I can help one parent and help the children that are in Massachusetts have healthy lives and not experience abuse and neglect, then I think not only myself but the entire district attorneys around the state share in that real pride in making sure that kids get the best care possible. Children's Trust really has an impact beyond just a family and the kids that are in a family. It really has an impact on the whole community. The fact that kids are growing up in healthy households means that that family is going to be a great contributor to the community, and the community is not going to have to react to abuse and neglect, or to an educational situation where they haven't had that head start. It's really going to allow a community to grow with that family and to really make a difference in that community in the long run. Investing in kids is the best investment we can make. And I like to say that the best way to fight crime is to invest in kids. That kids that have healthy upbringings don't end up dropping out of schools, don't become abusers themselves, really lead those lives that help them to move forward and get an education and really grow and prosper. And so I really think that the investment in Children's Trust and the investment in the kids that they touch really will make a difference, and I can't think of a better way to invest than in Children's Trust. Children's Trust is hands-on. They meet the parents and the children in a local parent center. They reach out to parents and to children, and they really have an impact to make sure that they get the skills, they learn what it's like to be a parent, and they fill that void that sometimes isn't there for parents. They don't always have good role models in their life, and they step in and really make that difference.
I can say that we spend quite a bit of time looking at the quality of the programs that are being offered. I'm very proud to say that the home visiting programs have been able to show that they're effective through doing rigorous evaluation. And that took courage for the Children's Trust to do, because we in the service community often provide a lot of services that we feel in our gut are making a difference. But sometimes we worry if someone was ever actually measuring our impact, would we show that we were doing what we hope we were doing? And I can say that Children's Trust is doing that. There is constant looking at what we do, how we do it, is it effective, but also looking and getting lots of advice from the people in the field as well. The program committee really brings many stakeholders from a variety of places together to really look at how are we meeting the needs of families in Massachusetts, especially the neediest families, although Children's Trust Fund serves all families. It's not income-based, but they're really good at being able to make sure that the neediest families get in there, and that's because of their engagement. And I also think it's because it's very quality programming, constant focused on quality. I believe in the work of Children's Trust because, unfortunately, in my time, I've seen a lot of broken families, and I've seen a lot of broken parents. And often these parents are the product of broken homes themselves. And the cycle continues. I've been around long enough where I've seen the children grow up and also go on to raise further broken families. I believe in this work because we are making a difference. If we support and save and strengthen even one family, it's worth it. But we're doing a lot more than one family. So, unlike some people, when I go to work and do my work at the Family Center and my work as a board member of Children's Trust, I know that I'm making a difference. I know when I see families and I see the news and I say, oh my goodness, I know that I'm doing things that are part of solution, and that's very important to me. And I'll always have that as I go through my career. So there's all kinds of trainings that are offered, from how to facilitate a group, how to hold groups, introducing models of parenting programs that are available that organizations can choose. There's also a lot of technical support that the Children's Trust offers, in terms of you can call up, you can ask questions, you can have a site visit. It's really creating, just the same way that we create a safety net for the families, there really is a net of opportunity for providers to be able to get support. It's very systemic. They understand that we are all part of the solution. So we're all valued, from the parent to the worker in the field to the person up at the State House trying to make a difference. So I really love that Children's Trust Fund is that systemic. Children's Trust is really helping to build healthier, more supportive families by really supporting the parents, and then also providing the opportunities for parents to really support their children. They're also helping parents to build social networks. They're helping parents to build resiliency. They're helping parents to understand child development and what their children need. And parents are doing these things. People are excited to see their kids thrive. And Children's Trust provides the opportunity for parents to make that happen.